Hello friends, welcome to week number 2 of my 2020 catch-up vlogs, where my goal is to read 3 books each week of December that I wanted to read in 2020, that came out in 2020 that I just haven't read yet, because like I said before, I've read a lot, but there's a lot still sitting on my TBR shelf. I asked you in last week's vlog if you had any ideas of how to select my TBR for next week, which is now, and Noah commented. A couple other people had similar ideas, and that was something about the dates they came out. Reading the 3 books that came out earliest this year you still haven't read, reading the first book on your TBR that came out for the month of May, June, July, etc. So I am taking that idea. Thank you very much. And I'm going to do 3 different things. So the book that has been on my Goodreads TBR, so just like the 2020 release that I knew of earlier than any others and like added to my Goodreads TBR the longest ago, because like if it's been on there for years and I still haven't read it, that's sad for me. Next, we're gonna look at my very first book haul of the year and watch that, and it's gonna be the 2020 release that's been on my physical TBR the longest. If there are any 2020 releases that I have physically owned for a year, that's sad too, and I want to get to them. And then on the opposite side of the spectrum, I'm going to read the most recent book I've added to my TBR, which you don't even know about yet because it's going to come in the mail this week. So we'll find out that together throughout this vlog. Hopefully it comes in time, otherwise I'll have to figure out what the last book is. So we're just going to first start with the book that's been on my Goodreads TBR the longest. I have a Goodreads shelf with 2020 releases. There are 135 books on it, and I feel like I've probably read half of them. So we're gonna sort by date added and then flip it so it's the earliest. So the books that have been on my TBR the longest, I apparently added the V.E. Schwab book back in like 2016. Like obviously I've already read that, so I can't pick that. And the next couple books I've had on my TBR for years and I read them. So if we scroll, oh my god, The Glass Hotel. Okay, I was not expecting that. That's been on my shelf since June 28th, 2018. I guess like just a blank listing had popped up and I added it because I wanted to read the next Emily St. John Mandel. Station 11 is one of my favorite books. I haven't read anything else from her, even though she has other things. So of course, instead of going into the backlist, I'm just gonna read her brand new thing. Here we have it. I only recently added this to my TBR. Like I found this at the thrift store, what was it, a month ago maybe? And I actually don't know what this is about, like at all. I know it has to do with a glass hotel and it takes place in Canada, I think specifically Vancouver, which is cool. And a crime, maybe? Okay, that is definitely not one I would have picked on my own if I was selecting like catch-up books, but that's good because it might have just sat on my TBR for years. Now we will check my very first book haul of the year, and if any books show up, I'm gonna pick the very first book that pops up in the haul that I haven't read that's a 2020 release. This was posted January 29th, so anything that came out in January could potentially be on here. I don't actually know if anything over there was a January release. Let's watch. Hi friends, it's Kayla and it's my first book haul of 2020. I got a really big package today that's super exciting, and it included 10 copies. I was like, oh no, what arcs are gonna be in this video? By CJ. Hopefully I've read all the arcs I was sent. Pause. What look do we like better? The shorter, darker, more mature look, or this? Maybe I should go back. Well, oh, I miss having nails. Let's move on. Are you interested in romance? Because I apparently am. This is Regretting You by Colleen Hoover. Okay, I already read that. I don't know if this is gonna be great. Let me know if you have read it. Then I was sent Wildfire by Carrie Mack, which I'm really excited about because it revolves around this friendship slash could it be more with these 2 characters who are like best friends, and they're going on a 10-day backpacking journey, which I love, outdoor like hiking type stuff. Yeah, you do, but you didn't read it. Okay, I'm glad I got to pitch the book there because I wouldn't have been able to pitch it to you here. Wildfire. Ooh, this is interesting because before I chose this catch-up theme, I was considering reading the highest rated and the lowest rated books from my 2020 TBR, and Wildfire would have been the selection for the lowest rated. So yikes. You know, this was kindly sent to me and I just never ended up prioritizing it. And then throughout the year, people kept telling me not to read it because it's terrible. It's a short read though, so it is a good pick. And like, if I end up loving this, I'm gonna feel really guilty that I could have been a part of like the initial excitement surrounding the book. I usually prioritize books that are sent to me, so I'm trying to remember what exactly happened with this one. This isn't even an ARC, it's a final copy. So I think maybe the publisher just wanted it featured in a post, or maybe it was sent unsolicited. I can't think of like why I wouldn't have prioritized it in the month it was given to me. Maybe the publication date was changing, and so I was like, oh, I'll read it in a later month, and then I forgot. I really don't remember. This is a good time to redeem myself, I guess. Well, I hope I love it. I'm gonna start reading these two and then we'll just go from there. I have so much to do today. It's kind of nuts. So I'm gonna take you along with me. It's only like 2 weeks away that I start to post my end of year, like 12 days of Christmas content. And I don't like to pre-film things like too far in advance. But 2 weeks out should be the start of the filming. So I'm trying to figure out which ones I can reasonably film ahead of time. And then I'm gonna take a lot of Instagram pictures today just to get ahead. Like, I want to take all of my end of year things. I have a plan to post a whole series of pictures of my favorite books because honestly, I'm having a hard time picking my top 10. Like, I'm really struggling, and I want to share more like 36. So that's what I'm gonna do as far as like Bookstagram goes. And there are 2 weeks left, and like, of course, I hope that I'm gonna read some more favorite books, but I'm gonna take all of those photos today, and like, if there's one maybe I have to retake because I read a certain something, like, that's fine. Also, I have to take a whole bunch of bookmark photos today, as always, every single weekend. You probably are sick of me talking about them, but like, that's the side hustle. And you know, I barely even make money off the bookmarks. It's my mom's thing. My mom's a badass, and however I can help her achieve her dreams, that's what I'm gonna do. So thank you for helping me do that. So I'm probably gonna do a little montage of everything I'm up to today. I wish I could put some good music in behind it, because like, realistically, all day I'm gonna be listening to Bon Iver. We just got our Wrapped like Spotify thing, and of course Bon Iver for like the 5th year in a row was my #1 artist. Like, we stand Bon Iver forever and always. So that's what I'll be listening to all day, but I can't play that for you. So just like, imagine it, and I'll see you in a bit. Okay, I've listened to a little bit of The Glass Hotel. I decided to try the audiobook, and I'm really liking it so far. It really reminds me of Station 11, how like we're bouncing between different people, and I think it'll all the characters are already connected, but I'm interested to see like how there's more connections. We have to go drop off the bookmarks at my mom's house, and then we're gonna stop at HomeSense to grab a couple last minute Christmas things, and while I'm there, I'm gonna replace all the lamps in my house. That's what I've decided today. I've wanted to do this for months, but fun quirk about me, I have broken every lamp in this house. First of all, this lamp is ugly. I thought it looked different when I ordered it, but it's ugly and big, and it's just sat here for years. My mom thought I made this. She came over one day, and this was years ago, and she was like, oh, you're making your own, like, you just stopped, you gave up? I was like, no, it's supposed to be like a mermaid. Anyway. God. Here's one of them. This is what I get for buying like cheap lamps though. No, this one's a little better. Oh no, it's completely crushed. And it is just the lampshade, but like I've grown out of the glass situation. Also, my house is full of laundry because we have no washing machine. And then the big lamp
keeps falling apart, so it'll be nice to get rid of it.
Bottom, the base is all like ruined, and then the top things that connect it like come apart. We're at Value Village dropping off the old lamps. I changed because we're doing something weird that you'll see in next week's vlog. Okay, we found, oh gosh, the perfect set of lamps. Don't mind my laundry in the back. Well, you can't really see them. I'll show you where they go when we get home. Okay, so the good news is the lighting looks really good in here compared to how I feel like it normally looks, like when I try to film in the middle of the night. I'm getting a lot more light from these lamps because they're very, very big. I know you don't care about the lighting, you care about the books. But I have to admit, like I was wrong. These lamps are way too big for the nightstands we have. But we also got this little one, and that's the scratch off thing for books. I'll do that with you later. But I had to put one of the lamps on the dresser instead of the nightstand because it's just like, it takes over. You probably can't tell from here, but like it's, you can, it's way too big. But the ones in the living room look really good. Okay, here's the desk lamp, and then here's the floor lamp. Don't mind the mess of books over here. I'm trying to organize things for videos, and it's hard to get the lamp all in one shot, but like, that's what it looks like. Okay, that's it. Anyway, the Glass Hotel. I'm really liking. I don't read books set like on the West Coast very often. I feel like a lot of times when I pick up a Canadian book, it's set in Toronto. So this is just so nice because it's talking about all of these places I'm so familiar with, like not just cities, like it's talking about Vancouver and Port Hardy, but then it's talking about like going to UBC and like somebody's working at Le Chateau and all of these little references that are really cool. Let me know if you've ever read a book set in the city where you live, and like, is that cool? I feel like if you live in New York, it's probably just like so easy to find and it's overdone at this point. But like, especially people who live in smaller towns or smaller cities, like, has that ever happened to you? Is it cool? I don't know that I've ever read a book set in my specific city. I have read some short stories that have to do with like the Ogopogo and the Okanagan Lake, which is cool. But my favorite part of this was we are in how many different timelines? So like 1994, 1999, and then 2009. That's mainly where we're set. And in 1999, they're talking about the new year coming up and how like everybody believes that the world is gonna collapse at, you know, when the clock strikes midnight and the new millennium and whatever. And they're just talking about it and they go, do you find yourself sort of secretly hoping that civilization collapses just so that something will happen? Anyway, I'm at part 2, which is not quite halfway. There's a lot of characters to keep track of, so I started writing them in my phone. So it is about this glass hotel and some crimes that are going on as well. And oh my gosh, it's so hard to pinpoint what this book is about. I feel this same way as I did with Station 11. It's like, okay, so it's about, you know, society collapsing and like people surviving, but it's also about like putting on Shakespeare plays, but it's also about the relationship between these two people. I feel like that's where we're going with this, is like there's a lot of different things to follow, there's a lot of different characters to follow. There's not necessarily like one main person we're focused on. We're focused on this cast of characters who work at this hotel, but then there's like this graffiti that has happened and this guy got in trouble, and then this guy, and there's this other girl, and then I was shocked by one thing, like one relationship that happened, and then we're following her and like her new journey in life, living on this boat. And I think it's a little speculative. It's all very interesting, but I already know I'm gonna have a really hard time giving some cohesive thoughts at the end of it. Okay, so here's the scratch off thing. This company is called Been There Done That. It's right here, and there's so many of them. There's like movie ones, book ones, places you visited. And this one is like classic books that, you know, you're supposed to read in your lifetime, which like we could get into that whole conversation of like what books are deemed like important and classics and how they get that distinction and if they actually deserve it, etc, etc. So I'm gonna scratch off all the ones that I've read, starting with Charlotte's Web. I go in for Liam 2 to go in his room. And like, no, it's not a goal for me to read all of these in my lifetime anyway. Like, that's not what this is for. I'm gonna perfect this later. Maybe I'll actually want to take it off the wall to do a better job. But I just want to see like how many have I actually read. I don't actually think I've read Anne of Green Gables, which is kind of nuts. Oh, Romeo and Juliet, Hamlet. Can definitely scratch off any Shakespeare. Little Women I read for the first time this year. I've read it 3 times this year. We've got The Stand. We've got Chronicles of Narnia, Lolita, On the Road. Yeah, On the Road, oh god. Animal Farm. I think one of my favorite books of all time is on here. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Lord of the Flies. Good morning, friends. I today am doing a live show for The Only Good Indians with Monet and Brody. So I'm just getting ready for that, and then hopefully I'll be able to film today. I think I decided which video I can pre-film. So hopefully I have time to do that. I feel like somebody tweeted something the other day that was like, I wish I wasn't the type of person who has a meeting at 4 p.m. and therefore like can't do anything else for the rest of the day. That's how I feel on live show days. And it's not that I'm doing anything for the live show, like to prepare for the live show or like get everything ready, like everything's done, but I can't like focus on anything else knowing that I have like this one thing to do. So I need to work on that. But I'm gonna try to film something today. And then what else am I doing today? I don't know. The boys are gone like all day. They have a lot of stuff going on. Rob kindly is going to do all of our laundry, I think, at his parents' house, which is probably going to take like all day because I haven't been able to do laundry for like a week now. I'm now on page 167 of The Glass Hotel, and it's funny because this is the second time this has happened that I go to like bookmark, fold down, dog-ear the page that I'm on, and it's already been dog-eared. So whoever read this before me, I found this at Value Village a couple months ago, I want to say, and that happened the last time when I stopped at like part 2. It was already folded too. So me and whoever read this, like, we're on a journey together, and I'm still really enjoying it. General fiction is not something that I often find myself like picking up intentionally. Actually, that's not completely true. I do pick it up, and oftentimes it just sits in my TBR closet, which the TBR closet is something I think we're going to explore in an upcoming video. But then I don't often find myself reaching for it because I think it's not going to do a lot. Like, if I'm often looking for a feeling when I read, so like I pick up mystery because I like to be in a feeling of suspense. I pick up horror if I want to be scared. I pick up romance occasionally if I want to have that feeling. I pick up intense, like, hard-hitting topics because I want to feel something, or I want to learn something, or I want to, you know. And then fantasy is its own thing that I just love the vibes of the type of fantasy I pick up. But just like general fiction, I never know what it's gonna do for me, but there are some interesting like elements within it. Like, there's a bit of a mystery, but since I know it's not gonna be like these shocking reveals, I don't know if I get as fully invested in the story, but I am still really enjoying it. Like, if I had to rate it right now, it would be a 4. I think the number one thing that I love about her books is the settings, how there's always a wide variety, and the atmosphere is so good. Like, everything is so well described. We're on this ship, and then we're also in this glass hotel, and it's like in the wilderness of British Columbia. It's like in the middle of nowhere. It's hard to access, and the descriptions of all of these locations just feels very real. So I enjoy that a lot, and I'm excited to finish this, I think, at some point today. I'm gonna wrap some presents today because the boys are out. I can get that done. I found this reusable wrapping paper, which is really cool. Reusable gift wrap. It's basically just like fabric, so you could easily you know, buy it from a fabric store, make it yourself. But it's really opaque, so you can't see through it, obviously, which is the point. Last year I made a goal of using all like reusable boxes and stuff for gift giving, and this year I found some wrapping stuff as well. Here's what I got for my mom's cat for Christmas. I don't know, these are plastic springs. Like, how basic can you get? But they seemed cute. Although my next goal for next year is going to be gifts that don't have so much packaging, but at least we're like kind of counterbalancing things, I guess. Okay, I will see you after the live show. Okay, my live show is over. I also filmed a video today, and now I have to film a video for a booktuber to give them a reading prompt for a certain video. If you ever see this booktuber's video and you see me pop up, make sure you comment that you were here when I was filming it. I really want to finish The Glass Hotel today, so hopefully that's what will happen. Reading vlogs are so freaking weird because like I'm having the most chaotic busy day ever, but you don't see any of that. Like all you see is me sitting and chatting casually about books, but like I'm doing so much shit today. But like it's not interesting enough to vlog. I don't know. Do you want to see me shovel the driveway? It's snowing. I finished The Glass Hotel, and I'm kind of unexpectedly giving it 4 stars. But it's weird because I can't really explain why, and I don't really know who I would recommend this to. Because I wouldn't necessarily say like, if you love Station 11, you're gonna love this. But there is something really distinct about her writing that I absolutely adore, and I just want to pick up more. It's hard to talk about the plot of this book without spoiling it, because I don't know, I just like, it's about a sibling duo and a Ponzi scheme, and you kind of know what's going on at the beginning of the book, so it's not like there's any shocking reveals or all of these connections that you didn't see. Like, it's just a lovely, interesting story about all of these different people, and it's got a little paranormal supernatural element, which is probably what made it like really work for me now that I'm thinking about it. Books like this are the reason why I will constantly tell people I'm not a book reviewer, because there's no way that any of my words can do this style of book justice. And I feel that way with most adult, like contemporary or literary fiction books. Like, I truly don't have the capability to discuss like what this book accomplished and how it got there and like really dive into it. I just loved it. I thought it was really enjoyable. Maybe I'll steal some words from the back of this. Luminous, subtle, haunting. Yeah. A gorgeously rendered tragedy. That's what I said. Ingenious, enthralling, probes the tenuous yet unbreakable bonds between people. That's basically what I said. These characters are all so interesting and vivid. Like, Vincent is a really interesting character. Alcatus is a really interesting character. We're on a ship. We're in prison. We're in the woods. I think I already said that. I just had a really good time reading this. And my next book is set in the woods, which is interesting because I just posted this to Instagram to see if you guys could guess like what the theme was for this week's vlog, and there are so many guesses, but a lot of them were like books set outdoors, and I haven't posted about this at all, nor do I think that posting this would actually help you think it was outdoorsy, because this doesn't look like an outdoor setting. The next thing people were guessing a lot is that I'm reading the lowest rated books, which we established it's kind of a thing. I'm not reading this tonight. I'm finally gonna make some time to watch The Challenge. The new season is out, my favorite show. I'm so excited. And then I'm gonna start Wildfire tomorrow, and I feel like it's gonna be a pretty quick read, so I'll let you know. And I think I have a package coming tomorrow as well with a book in it. So, yay. I'm back. It probably looks the exact same as last night. And not a lot has changed since last night, except I read a book. It wasn't this one. I'm still gonna read this today. But what I did read today, I decided to listen to the audiobook of The Empress of Salt and Fortune, which is really short, like the book itself is. But I think the audiobook, like reading at it, listening to it at the, oh my god, I keep dropping everything. Listening to it at the pace that I would read it with my eyes, I got through it in an hour. And it's interesting because I was gonna consider this like in my top 10 favorite books of the year. I haven't really thought about that list. Like I haven't put the final numbers all together. I think I have my top, I think I told you before, I've made top like 36, and I'm actually not confident about a single book in my top 10. Like they're all just going in and out. I do not know, but I was thinking about putting this in my top 10, and upon reread, I didn't desperately love it as much as I did the first time around, and I wonder if it's because I listened to it as the audiobook, but I wanted to reread it before I read the sequel, which is here. My plan is to read this one tomorrow. It showed up just in time to be my most recently added to my TBR book. Here it is. It's so pretty. With that said, this is still a 5-star. It's still no doubt in my top 36. I just don't know if it's in my top 10. I think it still could be. I might actually read it again with my eyes. I'm losing it. Yeah. Look how cute they look together. I'm gonna take an Instagram picture of this. This one's called When the Tiger Came Down the Mountain. I think we're still following Chi, which in the audiobook was pronounced more like Ji. Anyway, Ji is a cleric, and they are listening to the story of Rabbit and the Empress of Salt and Fortune. His name is Inyo. And what else does it say in here? I just wanted to see if we're following like a similar storyline or what's really happening, because the story's more about Rabbit being like a handmaiden and the experience there, and then this one is must unwind the intricate layered story of the tiger Hoti Thao and her scholar lover, a woman of courage, intelligence, and beauty, and discover how truth can survive becoming history. So it does seem to be still like Chi's story, but it's them like learning about someone else's experience. And this is really actually, I think maybe reading it with my eyes was more impactful, because like getting to see the words like "do you understand" was just like really impactful to me. Like Rabbit is telling her story and she's telling little pieces of it, and then at the end of every chapter she's like, "do you understand?" And maybe I took this slower than I listened to the audiobook, and I just didn't get the same like impact. But when I first read this, like it did things for me. So I'm just very excited to continue after Wildfire. Don't let me talk to you again until I've started this, okay? Hold me to it. 80 pages into Wildfire, and I really, really love it. It reminds me of Why We Broke Up by Daniel Handler, where it's like two people broke up, and then through vignettes we see little like portions of their friendship and their relationship. So we start the book knowing that these friends are in the woods and like trapped by this wildfire, and then we're jumping back in time to see how they got there and like how their friendship has evolved, them kicking off the trip, and like how they even started it. And I just think it's really great so far. I don't know why people don't like it, and I'm really excited to finish it and then look it up, because I don't want to get spoiled for anything, but I'm so desperate to know like what people aren't loving. But also Why We Broke Up has extremely low ratings, so we'll see. I'm at 160 pages now, and I'm still really enjoying it. I would recommend it for fans of that Mindy McGinnis book that I didn't actually love, but it came out at the beginning of the year. Be Not Far From Me, I think it's called. I need to reread that. It was weird. That book was so weird because I like gave it, as I was reading it, I was like, oh, this is a 4-star. And then I finished it and I was like, was it that good? 3-star. Anyway, I see why people might not totally love this. I don't think our main character is necessarily likable, and the boy is in a relationship. And sometimes the way she speaks about his girlfriend is questionable. I don't really think it's that problematic. She's not saying like, ooh, I'm better than her, or he should be with me, or I hope he cheats on her, or it's more like, I think he is meant for me. I think I'm more his type. But she's not making that decision for him. She is just like exploring her own feelings, and I think hoping that he comes to the same conclusion. I think I can also see why people don't like this, because like, you maybe as a reader don't really know how to feel. Like, you don't know if you're supposed to be rooting for this relationship, or if you're supposed to be rooting for their friendship, or if you're waiting for like a reveal. And also maybe some people would rather we were just like in the experience fully and not flashing back. Those are the things that I can come up with, but I'm having a good time. I finished it and I really liked it. I realized that on Goodreads, it only has like 69 reviews. So when I say like everybody hated it, there haven't actually been that many people to review it. And most of the people who have reviewed it say the same thing, which is that the book wasn't what they were expecting. This is a really hard-hitting contemporary about just two characters navigating trauma. And a lot of people seem to think that it, based on like the synopsis and the cover, that it was going to be more of a hope-filled like adventure romance. I didn't really know what to expect going in, but as somebody who likes hard-hitting YA contemporary, like, this was perfect. I don't know, like, I'm waffling between 4 and 5 stars. Like, honestly, this was a great book. I feel like it's the type of book that could have made me cry, and since it didn't, I can't maybe give it a full 5 star, so we'll say a 4.5. It's a pretty intense read, and I did see in one review they said like, I don't know who this book was for, which I do understand, because you wouldn't necessarily recommend it like to teens who've experienced really hard things and need help like navigating their trauma, because the way that these characters behave, the choices that they make, like, it's not something you would want to emulate. And there isn't like the most encouraging, hope-filled message by the end. The book does some like rough things and some good things, but like the overall tone just isn't easy to discern. Annie and Pete are really good characters in my mind. I also saw in reviews that people were saying they couldn't connect with the characters, which like I don't get. I thought they were great. I was rooting for them as individuals, as romantic partners. They have both experienced some really difficult things. I think because of that, neither really knows how to make the best choices for themselves. And they really have this almost unhealthy bond where neither of them really care that much about anything or care about their lives, and so they do really dangerous and reckless things, and they absolutely pay the price for it. So I do think that there is some positive messages in it, or not positive, but like appropriate messaging in it. Anyway, I really enjoyed it. At this point, 2 more books. The whole goal of these vlogs is to catch up on 2020 releases and see like if anything can bump out a previous favorite, like if I can have a favorite of the year this late in the game. Right now the answer is no, but I'm gonna read my final book tomorrow and we'll see. I promise I'll film somewhere other than this angle, although Robbie scratched off all of my books, so you know the background has changed this much in the last couple days of clips sitting in this exact spot. I'm just not doing anything interesting. Like, I don't know what to vlog. Like, I go to work, I read, I go to work again, I read, sometimes I sleep in between. I'm home from work and I'm finally gonna read my last book, which is exciting. It feels like a Friday, and like I can't explain it, but then I went on Twitter and everybody was like, how is it not Friday? And I just love when humanity as a whole is going through something together, like the misunderstanding of time. It's just like how from December 27th to 30th, none of us know what day of the week it is or what's going on. And we're all just like lost in this weird time warp. It's Thursday and I'm waiting on so many packages, as I'm sure we all are. But one finally arrived and I'm very excited about it, even though it's a package for me and not like Christmas gifts or anything. But I gifted myself some new bullet journals because they were having a sale, and I feel like they don't have a sale very often. I still don't know how to pronounce this, but it's also like Lighthouse. That's what the word means. So when it ships to me, it says like Lighthouse Publications. And the sale was like buy one, get one free, I'm pretty sure. But you had to choose the same color, which is fine. But then like a week after I ordered, they sent me an email and they were like, sorry, your item's out of stock. Can you pick a new color? And I was like, okay. But then I gave them 2 colors just to see if they would, and I said it, I was like, I know I'm supposed to pick the same color, but since you didn't have the one I wanted, just in case it's an option, here are 2 colors I'm interested in. So we will now see. Ooh, oh my gosh, okay. I knew it was copper, but it's even prettier in person. I don't think I've ever seen the metallic ones in person. And then I just got a boring gray one. These are my absolute favorite things to own. Like, I love the regular size bullet journals, but these ones, it's just like every single page is a different video, basically, is how I use these, or a different like reading plan or something. And the page size is just so much more conducive to a fully realized thought than the small ones. And hopefully it is the dotted version. Oh, it is. This means nothing to most people, but those of you who just adore these are called the Slim. So they're like twice the size of the traditional ones, but then they're just as skinny, if not skinnier. And this is what I'll be using for 2021, even though technically a couple months ago I already bought one for 2021, but now it's already 3/4 of the way full because my 2021 was full and then it started bleeding into 2021, and now it's all such a mess. So there's my exciting mail. Side note, look how nice this looks together. I should have done an Instagram picture like that. Okay, let's wrap up this vlog so I can start the next one. I finished when the tiger came down the mountain. I always say like tigers or mountains or come down. I gave this 5 stars and I was right that just for me personally, the audiobook is not the best way to consume the story. So I reread this and read this. They're both 5 stars. I did prefer the Empress of Salt and Fortune, but they're both really solid stories. I hope this continues. It kind of reminds me of like my love of the Wayward Children series by Sean McGuire. Like, keep coming out with books that follow like kind of the similar characters. There's something that ties them all together, but they're all different stories. And I really hope Nevo gets to keep writing these. So we have a tiger who is in love with a scholar. We have wives. We have, it's interesting because there's like shape-shifting, and I don't really like traditionally talking animals and shape-shifting, but there's something about this series and also like Girls of Paper and Fire. I don't know what it is, maybe the sapphic nature of it, maybe just like the rich language and world building that I really don't mind. And in fact, I enjoy the animal, human, weird things. Sorry, someone just pulled up next to me and looked at me and freaked me out. If I had to compare the two, which I don't have to, but I will, this one was more powerful for me. This one was more interesting for me. This has the vibe of like this series, like the Canterbury Tales. This series has that vibe where there's different storytelling in each book, and it's like them traveling and hearing about different experiences. There's not actual like travel going on, because I just heard someone be like, Kayla, you don't like travel books. But I think basically the point of this is the idea that there can be different interpretations of the same story, or stories can be erased or altered, and so different communities will know not the truth about the original story, and it's like, who is telling the real story and who was actually there, and how can we make their voice heard, because we're hearing the story of the relationship between, now I hope I don't mix up the different characters, maybe I read this too fast, but Diao and Hoti Tao, and the story goes a different way. depending on who's telling it. Will I ever be comfortable vlogging in public? That's a resounding no. I just think the story is really poignant and interesting and really enjoyed it. 5 stars. That's the end of the vlog. I read 3 new books and then I reread a book twice. That's my vlog of the week. I hope you enjoyed hanging out. I'm really excited about the 3rd theme and I'll see you in a week. This parking lot is just hopping.